That you thought it happened again, didn't you? I don't know what happened to the first pass on this thing. There was no audio. So let's just I was saying such amazing stuff too. Like literally things that would reshape the way we thought about the world, the universe, our existence, and now it's all lost. All right, let's just jump into it. So yesterday I was talking about this being a trimming day, that we're getting kind of extended from the 8-day. I think if you didn't trim yesterday or you started trim, this was another trim day. It's not really a start day right here. Why? We're just getting so far away from the 8. We're going to have to come back to the 8 at some point. The question is, how will we come back to it? Will we come back to it in one day like this? That wouldn't be good. Will we slow down a little bit and go like this over a couple of weeks and the 8 catches up? Will we just go sideways and correct through time? I don't know. But we're going to have to hit the 8 at some point. Does that mean we can't go higher tomorrow? No. It just means, statistically speaking, from an odds standpoint, being in this position this far away from the 8, it's more likely we're going to get a pullback day. I think another thing that kind of leans that way is if you look at, let's go over and take a look at the VIX. So yesterday I talked about how we had this big crush in volatility, then a smaller bar, then a smaller bar. This is momentum slowing as the bars get smaller, and that we might get a bounce back, which we got here. Then we had a relatively larger bar, smaller bar, and then very small bar. And I said we probably get a little bit of a bump on the VIX. So we've gotten this bump, but if the market is ready to pull back, we're probably going to get the VIX go a little bit higher. So it just, the odds right now are leaning towards a pullback sooner than later. So yeah, but from other than that, we're at all-time highs. I mean, can you really be upset with all-time highs? We're hitting all-time highs here in the SPX with volume increased. Same thing here. The Qs, all-time highs, volume increase. Little different situation here with the Russell. Kind of the red-haired stepchild. Can we say that these days? Will we be canceled? Will I be canceled? I don't know. But we're not really getting a clear move out of here, but that's because of the context. The context is we're trying to get out of a 4-year base. And I've talked about this many times. You got to knock on the door numerous times. It's not going to be clean, so we're kind of chopping it up here for a bit. I expect that eventually we will clear out of here, but for now it's still getting bogged down. And then we've got the Dow, which also went to all-time highs, but looks like it has a potential reversal bar here. We have to close below it for that to be a reversal hammer, and it could just be a short-term reversal hammer, one that takes us back to the 8. Honestly, we could get back to the 21 and still be fine. So nothing wrong with this market except it's a little bit overextended. What else do we have here? So we talked about the VIX. Dixie, kissing the back end of this line. Sometimes you get, when you get a trend break like this or a breakdown, they do what's called kissing the back of the trend line where it comes back to it before going higher. So we'll see if that's the spot here. TLT is acting just like it should after breaking out of this area, coming back to the 8 and starting to go higher. Bitcoin, look at that. Where did Bitcoin stop? Right at that old pivot spot. It's almost like price has memory. So 2-3 times we tried to get through there, can't get through there. Until we can close above here, I think we still have to worry about breaking, back down into this area and then eventually this long-term trend line. Ethereum, same sort of thing, right? Needs to kind of firm up in this area and not break this trend line. XHB just hanging at the bottom of this range, trying to decide if it really has definitively broken this short-term trend line or not. What else do we have? SMH, all-time highs. That's basically because of NVIDIA, which announced it was investing $1 billion with Nokia. Not sure why, but it was good for Nokia and for NVIDIA. XBI, 52-week highs. That's good. I'd like to see XLF and KRE get back in gear. This is about as much as I'd like to see us pull back here. We're back at the 50. Now I'd like to go back up here. That would give me a little bit more confidence that we don't have a big pullback ahead. What else? Oil. Hey, look at that. Price has memory. Gets stopped 3 times at this level. So It's going to need to consolidate a little bit here below this trend line, below the 50 before it takes another shot. OIH is telling us maybe the next move is up, but XLE is giving us the exact opposite look. So gold continues to come in after that big break last week. Gold miners holding though, and silver holding. And pot still cannot get its catalyst going. All right, so it's already moved everything in the previous video. So let's just go over, well, let's just take a look at some things quickly. SoFi, I said I'd like another day for it to set up, but it could probably go. I said that yesterday, and it did go. So hopefully some people got it. What else? Poet. A lot of people I'm talking to think Poet's going to be a $15 stock at some point. Now, that's a fundamental narrative, and it's great if the fundamentals and the technicals marry, but right now we're on the verge of kind of breaking down here. I told the Discord I would like to buy some in this area, but I want to buy it on strength. It closed the day pretty weak. So what I'd really like to see is a gap down tomorrow and then see it firm up intraday, start to reverse. Then I would probably buy some options maybe 3 to 6 months out. All right, so I can't remember what I did, except I took 2 names off of this list. Which names would those have been? I think I can remember. I can reconstruct it. Yeah, I took DraftKings off because that obviously failed, and I took TTD off because it looks like crap. And these all stayed on the list. So we got BB, which looks really good still. Netflix tried to go, but as long as it's still got this little consolidation, these 2-bar pattern here, I think it could pop. Oscar, I don't like this little upward sloping trend line, but it still is pretty tight here, and it still looks like it might want to go, so I'm going to keep it. AI looks better than it did yesterday, and Open looks better than it did yesterday. And then nothing came off of the active list. NVIDIA obviously still active, all-time highs. Microsoft, boom. I played this with options last week and lost a little bit of money. I was 1 week early. Tesla still looks great, active. Hood still active, needs to kind of pull back here into the 8-day, and it would go back on the green list. Same thing with Meta, but it's got earnings tomorrow, so likely it's going to make some sort of move. AMD still active. Google looks great, still active. It's got earnings tomorrow. Bros, why does this keep doing this? Bros looks great, holding the 200 there. NBIS looks good. So nothing came off of the active list. We only had 2 things go off of the green list, and everything else stayed. Usually when we have action like that, that means we have a big move coming. Doesn't always mean, but sometimes we get a big move. And because we're extended, if we're going to get a big move, I would lean maybe towards the downside. Not saying that's going to happen, but I'm saying if we get a big move, sure, we could just gap and go higher tomorrow, but we're getting to rarefied air here. We're getting to like nosebleed air here. So anyway, sorry for this shortened daily update, but I just didn't want to do the whole 9 yards again after I blew it the first time with no sound. So anyway, if you're not in the Discord, get in there. If you get in there, I'll see you there.